Hello everyone. It is 1,000,000 degrees and there is a dog. So we'll see what happens today. Okay. This cable is super long and always tangled, so it's never super long. That's really annoying. Hello Blurry Squire and Celestial Bluetooth. How's everyone doing today? Okay. I've been very busy, as you can tell. Definitely wasn't playing Elden Ring. Actually, I was not playing Elden Ring. I've been doing Git stuff. Just very fun. Settling my differences with Void Linux. Licking my lips looking at BST. You know what? I'm curious about BST a little bit. What have they got going on? Is it better than Linux? Are they up to some bullshit like Linux? Couldn't tell you. I played Elden Ring before, couldn't get past this boss in this tower. Could consistently get him to his second phase though. Boss in the tower. Close to the start. Is it the guy that calls you foul tarnished? That struggled a lot with him when I first started, because this was my first Souls game. And honestly, the only one that I've ever finished, for that matter. So, yeah, it's honestly, I'm struggling a little bit right now because I'm playing a different kind of character than I'm used to. So even that is not super easy. Also, I have to say, like, the samurai class, I thought it would be a lot more, like, dexterity based, like, a lot faster and whatnot, and it's really not. Yo, what's up? Market the Fellowman. Yeah, that's the one that calls you foul tarnished. Dark Souls 1. I have to... Okay, so the thing is that... why am I playing Elden Ring now? Is because I've played it a lot. I have 400 hours. Just today I saw someone on TikTok had 900 hours in one character. So apparently I haven't played it a lot. But I have played what I consider to be a lot. And I wanted to play other Souls games. So I played Dark Souls 3. That game is some fucking bullshit. The run back for the second boss is so annoying. And I was also like experimenting with different character classes, so I restarted a few times, and that was so annoying to do. And then I got to the third boss, and it's like a gimmick boss, and I was like, I have to say though, I played Dark Souls 2 for like, well, an hour or two, and it was okay, but it felt so weird. Mostly because it feels much more cartoonish. So I haven't continued. And I was like, you know what, I feel like just playing a game that I know. I also played an Italian game called Inotria something. It was really good, but I didn't get too far in that because you need to grind a lot, and there's only like 30 enemies. So it's really, really, really repetitive. But overall, I really like the way that the game works. So yeah, that's to be fair, I wasn't actually playing Elden Ring. I just left that open from yesterday when I was playing Elden Ring, not today. Today I was working on. Today I was, yeah, I was doing something with Git. Actually, let me say this in a clickbaity way. I made a GitHub alternative that has 100% uptime. That's what I was doing. I'm setting up a local server that I have to act as an intermediary that I push to it. I'm almost there for what I want to do. The thing is that, like, I have my local machines, right? I have this one, and then I have the server, and then I have to remember that there's a text feature in this thing. Then I have GitHub. The problem is there can be other machines. So like, it seems pretty straightforward at first, right? I push to this machine, and in this machine, I can put a post receive hook that pushes to GitHub. Easy. The problem comes when I'm merging a pull request, which nobody wants to contribute anymore, so it doesn't matter. When I merge a pull request, which comes from GitHub, not from this server, or when I am doing commits from another machine that goes directly to GitHub. I wanted to be able to play nice with this. And so my plan was, whenever you're gonna commit or push to my machine, it can fetch from the remote, which I can do in a pre-commit hook. It can just mesh from the remote. Mesh? No. It can fetch from the remote. And when there's changes in the remote, the push will actually fail. Because it'll be like, hey, there's some stuff that you don't have, so you need to pull. The problem is that I'm just fetching, which means there's work here that is not here or here, and we need to merge it, we need to pull it into here from here. Which there is a way to do, but it's not just a git pull from here to here. Pull doesn't work. Push does, pull doesn't. And yeah, I essentially need to update refs from here to here so that now this has the latest from the server, rejected local updates, then this one can pull from here. Now it has the latest and it can push, and this can also push, and you can also pull. The only difficult thing about, or like the roadblock that I have with this is that I can't update refs from a pre-commit hook. So I can be like, hey, you can't push because there's work in the remote, that you don't have. The problem is that when I realize that, I can't update my server with those changes so that you can then pull from them. That's the issue that I'm dealing with. I kind of probably have to do that in an asynchronous way, and that I'll have to figure that out. But yes, that's... again, I'm not hosting my Git server to say it in the correct way. I have a GitHub alternative with 100% uptime. I mean, right now you have to manually go into the server, pull updates from GitHub, and then you can push to it. Again, in this kind of not always gonna happen scenario, but I do need it to happen. By the way, is the repository that I've been using for testing still up? No, I deleted it. I'm not using any platform, I'm just using raw Git. That's kind of what I want to do. Obviously, I could host it, but it's so much more fun to do it yourself. And honestly, even though I'm not doing it on stream, should I make a video about it? Because I haven't made a video in a really long time, and maybe it's time. And all of the things that I've worked on, like the terminal and file system and my operating system, have been very... what is it called? Open-ended. So I haven't made a video on them. But really I should. So maybe I'm gonna use this opportunity to do that. Again, it is a relatively easy thing to do. I just need to figure this part out. But yeah, technically I'm not... It's not that I'm not using a platform, it's that I'm making my own platform, essentially. Yeah. That's where we're at. Anyway, enjoying working on it. It's been fun. The only problem is Git. But this is like the least annoying, least pedantic Git has been in a really long time. Because I'm just pulling and pushing. So in that sense, I kind of get it. I'm using Debian. Actually, hold on. Should I switch to BSD? Actually, today we're gonna do a little something something. You know, there's this really... BSD will have issues with... I kind of figured, yeah. You know, it's funny. I kind of need... Gaming is the one thing that I need to rely on something else for, because eventually I will have my own software stack that I use to build my own software stack. I will not need Linux for anything except for gaming. The thing is, I could already move away from Linux to something like BSD or Mac or something, but then it won't work with games. I'm not going back to Windows. I think the solution's just gonna be waiting for SteamOS, I guess. I'm assuming that it's gonna become way more widely available once the thingy releases, whose name I forgot. What even is Void Linux? Somebody was complaining about it in Twitch chat. You don't see that, but yeah. Not Void, Void Linux. Void Linux. Based on the monolithic Linux kernel, packages allow you to update, remove software. Whoa. Whoa. Yes, I'm just explicitly saying that somebody was doing that because chat is not visible on stream, and somebody talked about it on YouTube. So yeah, just so you know, Void Linux is... One person on YouTube said Void Linux is the best, and one person on Twitch said settling my differences with Void Linux. So, oh, it's interesting. Follow us on Mastodon. Yeah, okay. Not a fork. It is not a modification. Okay, I understand. Okay, so it's not a fork. It's from scratch using the Linux kernel. I thought they were saying that they were not using the Linux kernel, but it's like, okay, they're not forking another distro. Now, here's the funny thing. I don't know how many times this has happened, but it has happened multiple times where I want to do something on stream and I go on YouTube and I find a Zozing stream where he has done the same thing. And several times, including this time, the stream is super recent. I think it's literally from yesterday. No, this is Zozing. I need Zozing daily. This video. It says a day ago. When I found it, it was 7 hours old. Because I want to... What was it?
Right. I personally...
Okay, the stream just starts in the middle of talking apparently. Oh no, wait. YouTube does this really beautiful thing where if you're in the home page and you're hovering over a video, the video is playing. You don't hear it, you can barely see it, but the video is playing.
Right. I personally...
So when you actually click it, the video is mid-sentence. What did I come here to see? Okay, yeah, when this was actually uploaded. Does it say the time? No. I can't hover over it and see the time. Oh, if I do this? No, it doesn't say the time, just the day. But yeah, it's from yesterday. Here's the thing. I think actually the reason we are both looking into this thing is the same reason. We both need to package a game that we've worked on. Because I actually watched that stream last night. And yeah, he needs to package a game that he worked on. He wants to do it for Linux, so he's looking into app image. And how long is the stream? I think it's like an hour and a half. Yeah, the stream is an hour and a half. These 15 minutes here, he's looking at documentation and also talking about what he's gonna do. Right, but he's looking at documentation and complaining about the fact that the documentation is trying to sell you on using app image. Whereas if you're reading the documentation, you probably already have decided to use it. So just tell me what to do. During that time, I was doing my own thing. I was packaging a game for Mac. By the time that he was done looking at the documentation, I had a almost fully working package. It's that easy. I didn't need to touch Xcode. I thought I would. I do not need Xcode at all. It is incredibly, incredibly easy. And then, funniest part, something works that I did not expect to work. But yeah, what I want to do today is I want to be able to package my applications, or have a starting point at the very least, package my applications for distribution for Linux, Mac, and Windows. Now, it's convenient for me that most of my stuff is statically linked, and most of it is just my own code. Really, if for my own operating system, the code is 100% mine. So, absolutely zero issues with that. Also, I use a .red package, which is heavily inspired by the Mac packaging, to the point that it's almost exactly the same. I thought the .app that Apple uses was a little bit more complex, but I looked at it yesterday like properly, and it really isn't. I guess I was misremembering. Right, so for my own operating system, I need to package a .red. For Mac, I need to package a .app. For Windows, you could technically do like an MSI package, but that requires installation. And this really doesn't need installation. I think I can get away with just doing a directory. Right, where essentially I just do game executable.exe, and then glfw.tll, because I do need glfw. I could statically link, which is a possibility, maybe, but, you know, that is an external dependency that I have for third party, for cross compilation, for operating systems besides my own, essentially. Because they never bothered giving us an easy way, and most importantly, never a standard way of creating Windows. Not even Windows. Well, Windows has it, even though it's apparently not good. But it's definitely not standardized. Can't really do that. libc doesn't have anything like that. No programming languages really have anything like that. So windowing is shit, because like I always say, operating systems are stuck in the 1970s. I don't know about BSD, and maybe, you know what, I might do midweek streams, because there is genuinely nothing to do for me outside. I walked Chester for 10 minutes today, and I came back home with a headache. So, while I do not have an AC, it's not super convenient for me to be at home either. But it's definitely not convenient for me to be outside. So I might just stream a little bit more. Maybe do like a BSD stream midweek. I guess we'll see. But yeah, I kind of want to see how to do this. BSD also uses X11 and Wayland. I think I've heard that, yes. In that case, it would make it easy once I have a Linux distribution of my app, not a Linux distro, to also do it for BSD, I guess. But I'm not talking about checking out how to make apps for BSD. I'm talking about checking out BSD as an operating system. Are there distros? How do you? I don't know. Anyway, I know that Apple, their kernel is called, it's not Darwin. Darwin is actually an operating system, on top of which you then build macOS and iOS and whatnot. XNU is built off of FreeBSD, which is built off of a alternative distribution of Unix, which means that XNU, which stands for X is not Unix, is actually Unix. Apple is lying to us. Anyway, come way off the rails. I'm gonna take these off because this cable is genuinely, and also like it's really not worth it to like have my ears sweating. So if anyone does text to speech, I'll hear it just very, very quiet. Anyway, yeah, for Windows, most likely, I think I can get away with doing this. For my own system, all you have to do is just have a .elf and then a resources folder, which contains any images and is accessible through /resources without any like relative paths or anything like that. That behavior is kind of hacked together for cross-platform. It's way more native in my operating system, but yeah, it works. And again, I don't really need any external libraries, and also the operating system does not have dynamic libraries at all. So anything you want to put in your app, you need to statically link. And I'm okay with that for quite a long time, I believe. I don't see the reason of changing that for the time being. Then there's .app from Apple. Again, I thought it was more complicated than it is, because I thought that the .app was actually a zip file. Turns out it's not. It's literally a folder. So is .red. So in that sense, they're quite literally the same. Again, just from me misremembering, thinking that it was a zip file instead of it being a simple folder. It's a folder that has a folder called contents inside of it. I'm not sure why. because there's literally only one folder and it's always called the same, so I don't know what the point of this is. Inside of that, you will find a bunch of folders, like code sign, because sometimes you need to sign your code, macOS, resources, frameworks, and libraries, which are both for dynamic libraries, just that frameworks are Apple's other way of doing that, because dylib is also dynamic libraries. I'm not gonna lie to you, I've been an iOS developer for a really long time, and I cannot really tell you the difference between a framework and a dylib. Oh well. Multiple folder. Yeah, they probably planned for that, but it hasn't been the case for a really long time. Oh, and you need an info.plist file, which, by the way, in mine, you need a package.info. Well, you don't need it. You can have a package.info. And likewise, on Apple, you don't need an info.plist file. All you need is really a macOS folder, which contains an executable with the same name as the .app. That's literally all you need. That's how I was able to very quickly package an application while Zozing was still looking at the documentation for app image. To be fair, his conclusion of app image is it was incredibly anal about error messages and really, really annoying, but it's relatively simple. Although it kind of isn't self-contained, I have to say. At that point, I was like, he shipped it. Some people downloaded it. Some people were able to run it. Some people weren't. So, yeah. I think a large part of that had to do with like libc and whatnot. So, skill issue on those people's end, on those people's, yeah, on their end. On their end. Whatever. Anyway, from what I saw there, it didn't look particularly complicated. Just that, for example, it does require a desktop file. I don't remember the exact name of it, but it's essentially similar to the package.info or the info.plist file, which is essentially based off of XML, yes. But really, you tend to make them with Xcode. So, it's not super annoying to work with because their editor, which is how you're supposed to do it, works with this stuff pretty well. But again, actually yesterday I was able to package something with a completely empty info.plist. Wait, there was another file. Hold on, I have my laptop here. There was another file. Actually, I have my laptop here, and I put it in a shared folder so I could look at it. I'm not used to this new file browser. Hold on. How do I go to network? Here. To be fair, I think the people that were having issues were people who were using some very minimalistic Linux distros that didn't have libc apparently, or something. I couldn't really tell you. Anyway, .app, inside of it is contents, info.plist, which wants to open with Conqueror. Okay, now open it with Z. I created it with Xcode, but I didn't really fill it in, so it literally has this. Maybe it does require this boilerplate here, because it is XML at the end of the day. So maybe it requires this, but it doesn't actually require any information. Now, if you want to put that on the Mac App Store or even Steam, it probably will require a more complex info.plist as well as code signing. But just to make a .app, you don't really need that stuff. Also, it might get blocked on somebody's computer if it's not code signed, but whatever. And then the thing is, I looked into the Spotify .app and I saw a file that had this in it. And I don't know what it was supposed to be, but I was like, Do I need to? I'm just gonna copy it just in case. Yeah. Then I have frameworks, and there's nothing in here. And here's the funny thing. My executable is inside of macOS. Obviously, I can't run it because I'm on Linux right now. But I ran it, and it somehow, like the working directory for it is inside of here. I actually checked. This is the working directory. And yet, somehow, when I went to /resources, it went to this folder. And it's also case insensitive, so lowercase r worked. So all my assets were actually available, which for some reason none of them are loading, besides this garbage can, which is not even actually in the game. Oh no, never mind. Did it maybe work because it was in here? I kind of didn't notice that I had a resources folder inside of the other one. I wonder now. Is that the reason why it worked? Either way, it works for me. Wait. What? I don't have a resources folder in here. Oh no, there it is. Okay, I just couldn't see it. Alright, so if I delete that and I try to open the game... Okay, yeah. Okay, so I was wrong about the case insensitive thing. It's just that it checks inside of here. So let me bring that back. But it's literally that easy. All of this I did by just creating a bunch of directories. And it should really be that easy. Anything more complex than that is not a good distribution system. Because what I plan on doing today is making a simple, like, template-based system to allow me to package things. Well, it's two parts. Half is that, and half is cross-compilation. Which, if I'm not mistaken, GCC uses the MIT license, which allows me to redistribute executables. So I should be able to, even if I don't redistribute them, then you have to put them in there yourself, whatever. As long as I'm able to do this. I am able to download them and use them, so it's fine. But if I'm not mistaken, yeah, the GCC license should be MIT, and it should allow me to deal in the software without restriction, including limitation, the right to use, copy, without limitation, the rights to use, copy, modify, merge, publish, distribute, sub-license, and or sell copies of the software, and to permit persons to whom the software is furnished to do so, subject to the following conditions. The above copyright notice and all this permission notice shall be included in all copies or substantial portions of the software. Essentially, I'm allowed to vendor GCC. As long as I have this license. And yes, I know this. I don't even know which GCC this is, but this is the MIT license, so that's really all I needed. Wait, GCC is under GPL? Hold on, because I do have one GCC, besides the one that came with Linux. What is your license, for example? Okay, that does change things. Why did I think it was MIT then? Are there different GCC versions that have different licenses? And also, technically, what I need to distribute is well, again, worst case scenario, I don't distribute it. Also, hello to everyone who's been saying hello. Worst case scenario, don't distribute it. I just tell you, you need to get GCC and put it here. Big deal. It's GPL3, which requires... Yeah, that is different. Alright, well, again, not sure what the actual license requirements are for GCC. Or most importantly, what it entails. In terms of, I don't think I can redistribute just executables. I would have to redistribute the open source code and make my own code open source, which is already the case. That's not a problem. For that matter, my operating system is GPL3. But I'm not sure about executables. But again, it was just a convenience thing. I don't really need to distribute binaries. You just need to use them if you want to do cross-compilation. Who even wants to use this build system to package stuff besides me? Maybe you want to use it to build stuff that I've made, but do you genuinely want to use it to package stuff? That's up to you. But anyway, I'll have to look more into the licensing thing just to be 100% sure. But the plan is, in a simple world, we have a template system, right? Where we have .reds that look like this, .apps that look like this, even Windows templates that look like this, and whatever app image needs, just as long as it doesn't need any kind of actual packaging, any kind of like compilation step. I'm not sure. I do have to say that part of the Zozing stream I didn't super pay attention to. So, I did come to the conclusion that I want to do this in app image and not Flatpak though. Because I looked, let me put it this way. I looked at the OBS Flatpak, which is the only one I have installed after I moved away from Flatpak with Zed, and it's incomprehensible. So, absolutely fucking not. I don't even want to look at your documentation. The actual thing itself is incomprehensible. Nah. Thank you though. So yeah. Again, ideally we have a template system. We have different versions of GCC and LD, which is the linker, and you can take the code, compile it, and package it into those. That's the final thing that I want to do. Although today I'm mostly just gonna be exploring how these work because yeah, I'm not sure. Advices to master using Linux. I need some of that. Except I don't want any of that because I think Linux is stupid antic for my liking. But yeah, I'm definitely not the right person to ask because I think Linux is stupid antic for my liking. Anyway. Yeah, that is the plan. Essentially, I want my build system to work like this. So, okay, it's actually two different parts. One is the build system, and the other one is the packaging system. Although it's going to be part of the same repo, it's part of the same project, they are technically two different things because you use them at different times, right? Thing is, if I want to run a game, all I have to do is go into the .red package. It doesn't matter if Linux doesn't know what a .red package is and Mac doesn't know what a .red package is. You just click it and you execute and there you have it. And assets are there because it is able to find stuff from here. The problem is I do need to have those dependencies. libc, libm, and glfw. I'm actually not sure if libm is explicitly required. It was explicitly required by raylib. I'm assuming it's explicitly required by glfw, but I'm not sure. So yeah, that is kind of the thing. The reason that I cannot just use a .red. Also, you may not know what a .red is, but literally just take this out of it, rename it to not be .red, and there you have it. My executables right there. I can replace its name. I will remove the .elf. That's the executable. Add a .exe for Windows. That would make it super easy if it wasn't for dependencies. So building works fine, for example, on my system because I installed glfw. Personally, manually install glfw. But I don't want everyone who, oh, 2 people who are going to download this thing to have to do that. And I am not ready to make my own windowing library. Don't go in my eye. So, yeah. A little bit of packaging is going to be necessary. Also, especially for Mac, it's a lot better to package stuff. Because genuinely, it's so easy on Mac. It is so easy. You know what the average installer on Mac looks like? I know I'm always lazy Apple here, but come on. This is what the average installer on Mac looks like. This is a super old screenshot. Apparently it's the only one I could click on. But that's what it looks like. You take this, you grab it, and you drop it into this. Boom, you installed Firefox. On Linux, it's like, well, did you install from Flatpak? Because you should have installed from AppImage. Did you install from AppImage? Because you should have installed from a script. Did you install from a script? Because you should have installed from apt-get. Did you install from apt-get? Because you should be on Arch and you should be installing from Pacman. Did you install? This is why I'm not good to give you advice on how to master Linux, by the way. This is my average Linux opinion. Pedantic ass operating system with pedantic ass fan base. User base, not fan base. That is my mildest opinion on Linux. Alright. So such is the plan. Essentially also, I want this whole thing to work like a CI system. It's funny how at the same time I'm doing my own Git stuff and I'm doing my own CI. Am I becoming a... I literally don't even know what that kind of engineer is called. Is it DevOps engineer? ¿Qué es un ingeniero de DevOps? Hombre, ¿puedes dejar de darme resultados en español, por favor? Me cago en la... What does a DevOps engineer actually do day to day? Is usually everything between a code commit and what end users see on the screen. From this perspective, from this, I'm essentially becoming a DevOps engineer. I am making my own Git remote solution, and I'm making my own CI solution. That sounds to me like DevOps, I guess. Correct me if I'm wrong. So if somebody knows what that actually is, and it's not what I said, or if it has a different name, what I said has a different name, please let me know. But it sounds like that from that description. Somebody else says helping developers learn how to use the computer. Yeah, no, that's not me. Okay, see? Keep systems alive, fast, and secure. Automating yesterday's mistakes so they don't happen again. I'm kind of doing that. Yeah, sure. Shipping infrastructure changes. Cloud resources, monitoring alerts, and the occasional wise prod on fire moment. Translate developer ambition into infrastructure reality while explaining to everyone why just one small change is never small, and pushing back on the software arch about X, Y, and Z, and keeping the CTO well informed. That sounds like what I've been doing today and what I'm gonna do today. I'm officially a DevOps engineer. Amazon hire me or GitHub? My system has better uptime than yours. FYI. 100% uptime. Hold on. Actually, yeah, I've been pinging it for hours. I just haven't stopped it. For some reason. And yeah, 100% uptime. Off. Oh, I did some changes to my network and the computer got disconnected off the network. But besides that, 100% uptime. And that was a week ago. So I have a week-long uptime, 100%. Is that what GitHub has? How's your week been, GitHub? No, not this one. Today's the 22nd, so we're talking the 15th. Okay. So they had a partial outage. They had a major outage. They had a partial outage. And good the rest of the time. GitHub, my fuck-ass system has better uptime than yours. Hire me. I'm a DevOps engineer now. That is how it works. That is how it works. Also, I would never work for Microsoft. Fuck that. It's not like having a job you don't have to sell your soul, but come on. Alright. So, yeah. There is another thing. I said I was going to do this in Lisp. I am going to do this in Lisp. Well, the build system is done in Lisp. And I do need to use Lisp a little bit. The problem is, the whole GitHub thing, not GitHub, the whole Git thing I did on just Bash, and both of them suck for this, mind you. The thing is, Lisp is not that good for I/O operations. It really isn't good for working with files and folders, kind of. So, wait, what? Cursor has a GitHub now? Well, Firefox, can you open... Alright, I'm gonna look at this in a second. Yeah, actually, as part of this whole Git thing, I did a little Git status Lisp project, which really just... Zed is struggling. Oh my god. Zed is struggling to open the correct file when I'm working on remote. I'm SSHing from Zed into the machine where the code is hosted, and it's struggling so bad. But anyway. Yeah, I ended up doing something that, okay, works kind of well, but I have to say it was very frustrating to do. I should actually be able to open the file. Oh, it is actually on this machine, so. Get. Where is it? Get report, script.lisp. Alright, let's see if Zed is able to open this. Come on, Zed. Alright, this is it, yeah. It's just a file that runs git status with porcelain, which makes it parsable. Git status, getting remote information as well, and runs porcelain, which essentially just gives me a parsable version of the status of my repositories. And I want to use this to make sure that I don't leave commits without pushing when I'm working on this machine and then I move to another one. Or the other way around, because this has happened in the past and it's kind of annoying. So yeah, that's what I built this thing for. And I want to be able to parse this. But this is kind of the basis for it. I have to say, it wasn't super fun to do because the way that it works is it just looks through the folder that you run it in. In that folder, it skips .files. Then it checks if the folder, the subfolder, has a .git folder, if that exists. And if so, then this is a Git repository give me a give me the status of it. I also added another condition, which is read, whether this is one of my projects, but it's not really 100% reliable because the operating system itself and the library that everything depends on do not use this build system, they use make. So it wouldn't be able to detect those. I also don't want to hardcode any projects, so yeah, doesn't matter. It's just that on my laptop this actually gives me like status for the QEMU repository, in which I actually have an uncommitted change, because I have a script to help me build it faster. But anyway, why Lisp? Because I like Lisp. I mean, I look at this and I think this is actually elegant. I like it. I like the way that it looks. I like the language a lot. I have to say, for string manipulation, it is not good. And for I/O operations, it is not good. For example, you have no idea how hard it was for me to find the relative name of a file, of a folder, I mean. Thing is, I'm doing, in the current directory, which is get cwd, get subdirectories for the current directory, and iterate through those. Remove if not has get, which is a condition for that. Where's the other conditions? Ah, here, okay. These are the only two it looks for. Essentially, yeah, skip all the dot file folders, or dot folders. How do you call them? Anyway, anything that starts with a dot, and only keep everything that has get. So it's actually really convenient to do stuff like remove if is dot, remove if not has get. There you have it. However, subdirectories gives you absolute paths to the subdirectories, which in a lot of cases is actually useful. And then if you really need the relative path, you can just get it, right? It's actually not straightforward. It looks like this UIOP library never thought of this. Never thought of this goddamn thing. Again, apparently I'm either really bad at Google or Google is really bad at Google. So finding any resources on this was practically impossible. Eventually ended up coming up with this last path component, which... Right, there is another dependencies. I started a library for Lisp called redlisp. And that's where last path component is declared. So I can't show it, but not exactly the most elegant solution. Essentially, well, the first solution was, I know the directory that I'm in because of this, so I skip this part of the string in the subdirectory, and that gives me just a relative. It's ridiculous to have to do it like that. But it worked. I ended up coming up with a better solution, but to be honest, I just found it somewhere and it worked. It's not super reasonable. It's kind of weird. So yeah, working with files on Lisp has not been the most pleasant experience. But then again, you can just make a wrapper around this kind of shitty UIOP library, and then you won't have this problem. Which is, for example, what last path component does. Another thing that's been kind of shitty with it is string manipulation. Right, I said that I have porcelain, and porcelain gives me not formatted but parsable output. Right, so let's see. Get status b porcelain. Okay, so here it tells me I am ahead 9 commits on Codeberg. So that already gives me a lot of information. And then it can also show me if I have an this is not the right folder. If I have uncommitted changes, it also shows me that. Like that. There's a space here if it's unstaged, and no space if it's staged. So there's that. But hey, the idea of actually parsing this string into something that my system understands so that I can actually do something with it genuinely bothers me because of how shitty string manipulation is on Lisp. It feels like they haven't really thought of it all that much, which I understand, but at the same time, I've had to make my own version of every string manipulation function that I've ever had to use so far. I'm surprised that it's that bare bones. That's my issue with this. It's not Lisp. Lisp itself is great. My issue is not Lisp, it's the libraries. But you could just make your own library. And actually that is preferable. It's just that I have to do a lot of work. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, why do I always get hungry whenever I'm streaming? I have no idea. It always happens. Anyway. Alright, the vibe-coded GitHub, I want to look at that. So yeah, that's the thing with Lisp. The syntax, I know it can be scary for Lisp when you look at all these parentheses, but it makes sense. It can look a little bit but it's mostly fine. It grows on you. The amount of parentheses grows on you. But in a lot of cases, you kind of realize, okay, parentheses are kind of similar to how C does a lot of brackets. Like, nobody complains about the amount of brackets that are in C. You can also have a ton of brackets in C, and nobody really says anything about that. There's fewer brackets in C than parentheses in Lisp, sure, but not by that much. It's just that Lisp uses one symbol where C uses 3 different ones, right? C uses this, C uses this, and then C uses this, and also this, and also this, and also this. To be fair, also Lisp uses that. All of these symbols, you probably just use this for Lisp. That's the reason there's so many parentheses. It's a much simpler language. But I actually really like that. And even though it's simple, it's capable of a lot. Alright, so do I want to build this thing with Lisp? Do I want to build this thing with something other than Lisp? I don't know. Alright. I am going to start doing some little bit of boilerplate. Essentially, the way that I want my build system to work is when you get the build system, which you need in order to run a .lisp file that compiles your program, you also get an environment in which you can package stuff. Kinda like CI, like I said, but running locally on your machine. Alright, I don't want to call it CI. Although I'm not being particularly creative with names. I do want to look at this. A Git forge for the agentic era. Do you see how the G has disappeared? It became a mix between an A and a Q. A Git fork for the agentic era. What in the web dev is going on here, actually? That is literally just an H. Why is it like that? Why is it doing that? That was vibe coded, wasn't it? Even vibe coding, I don't understand what the issue could possibly be. This is like the simplest thing. How does this happen? Now it doesn't. But this one, okay. Yeah, the highlighting. Can we see that? Yeah, we should. Hold on. So if I select this, I should be able to see the elements here. And I can see... Yeesh, that's a lot of shit. I don't think I can search here. Styles, search, is it hover? No, it's not hover. Selected? Regards from Peru, hello. No idea what I'm supposed to be, oh, is it hov? Pseudo classes? Okay, this is a list, a list of them. I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at. Is it focus maybe? This is not doing anything, by the way. Well, doesn't matter. Anyway, would love to know what's happening here, but apparently it's just drawing a black box. Is it genuinely just drawing a black box and then drawing white text on top of that, and that's why it overrides what's below, what's in the line above it? That would make sense, right? As to why this is so shitty. I feel like that's what's happening. I feel like that's what's happening. Very much giving AI generated, of course. It's cursor. Like we're not gonna be surprised. But what the fuck? What the fuck is going on here? Code is moving faster than any infrastructure was built to handle, and it's going nowhere. What a waste. Origin was designed for this moment. Okay. Don't know what to tell you. There's literally nothing else on this website too. I'm not gonna enter the email I was about to enter. Anyway. Yeah, so reasons for doing this in Lisp. Number one, Lisp is great. Number two, I've worked with CI pipelines. Okay? I've worked with Jenkins. I've worked with GitHub Actions. I've worked with... I'm sure there's something else. And they all require you to write script. Never code, just scripts. And they all fucking suck. It's much easier. I understand where you come from, because again, I look at this. This is all it takes to configure my project to build it. Okay, one thing of not having the headphones is that hair is like blowing in my face. That's really annoying. I look at this and it's like what? 6 lines of code plus the load to be able to build this project. Sure, it sounds convenient. It's not a lot. This is literally all you need. There's a whole bunch of convenience. But the second that you need something a little bit more custom than this, what do? Well, actually, I skipped a part of what I was going to say. It's convenient to have very few lines in a declarative syntax to say, this is my project, this is how you build it. Right, so that I understand. Same goes for makefiles for that matter, same issue. Makefiles don't use code, and that, to me, is like the biggest issue that they have. Because the second that you want to do something slightly more complex, the scripting language that they chose will not allow you to do it. So you'll either need to do some secondary behavior that the scripting language hooks into, or you can go fuck yourself. Those are your options. Usually it's a mix of both. So I think that any build system and any CI pipeline should 100% be based off of code. Now, my previous version of the build system was based off of C code or CRED code, which requires 2-step of compilations. And even if you shorten that to just one, compiling your build system does not feel very appealing. So that's why it was a no-brainer to switch to Lisp. This is genuinely simple. Doesn't need compilation, it just needs the sabbatical. And I want the same thing for the packaging system. That, and the fact that this here is a class defining your project, which then gets packaged. And yeah, that's really all I want. I just want this. To send this into the packaging system, and the packaging system understands it. So another reason for using Lisp is that. Right, but again, I feel like it's gonna be more convenient for me on Mondays. I might not always do Lisp, but just do something slightly unrelated to what I'm usually doing, but also like more relaxed. I'm not just doing code all the time. So something a little bit more exploratory, like today. Something a little bit more off topic, certainly. So I think, yeah, it's not going to be Lisp Mondays necessarily, but it is going to be more off topic. And again, very high chance of a midstream stream. While I'm streaming, I'm going to start another stream. A mid-week stream, either tomorrow or Wednesday, because those are the 2 days that I'm free, to check out BSD. All right. What do we call our packaging system? Unfortunately, it cannot be Amazon, cannot be a DHL, cannot be FedEx, it cannot be Correos, it cannot be Poste Italiane, it cannot be insert your local post office. Also, insert obligatory joke about so slow at the post office or any government facility. We're gonna call it Barcelona or Berlin. Hell or Avernus? I'm joking. I've never been to Berlin. Barcelona? I've never liked Barcelona, but not because of the city, just because of the tourists. It's just too, too much. And now that Madrid is becoming like that, it's like, ugh. But yeah, never been enjoyable because of that. But actually, culturally, I feel like I'm much more aligned with Barcelona than I am with Madrid. So what the fuck am I doing here? In another life, I actually live in Barcelona, not Madrid. So this cable just keeps getting shorter. I swear to God. All right. What should I name this packaging system then? No idea, and I want to detangle this thing. So I'm going to take a second to think about it. And I would like to have it be a reference to some sort of post office, but you probably can't use their names directly, so it has to be a little bit cleverer than that. Bezos. Am I allowed to name it after a guy? Am I allowed to just name the damn thing Bezos? Wait, can I call it Bezos with an S? Like kisses? Is that a thing that I'm allowed to do? Is that risking it? Is the Amazon police on the way to my house? Is the Amazon police on the way to burn down the Amazon rainforest as revenge? I feel like I'm what is it called? Not knitting, sewing. I literally have a sewing machine right there. How do I not remember that name? Someone that made the Bez OS. Is that a thing? Please tell me that's a thing. I need that to be a thing. Okay, how do you detangle cables? I'm actually so bad at this. You don't want to see my desk. Not even the front of my desk, let alone the back of my desk, let alone under my desk. You don't want to see any of that. It's cables and cables and cables and cables. There might be a snake in there, I'll never know. If this was Venezuela, high chance there might be a snake in there, but it's not, so I'm fine. Well, until Amazon burns down the rainforest. Okay, I'm just gonna call it packaging, I think. I'm not sure if I can call it. I don't want to call it that also, it's a stupid name. Also, nothing should be named after that guy, like, absolutely fucking not. Alright. I think I detangled the cable. Yep. Well, still a little bit, but it's fine. It's fine. Alright, I'm just gonna call it packaging. I'm not gonna give it a name. Why should I use AI? Instead of asking me why should I learn from scratch instead of using AI, ask yourself why should I use AI instead of learning? To this day, by the way, now that I actually have to, again, use AI, I used to use AI because I liked it, now I have to use AI because of work, it still doesn't fucking work. Stop lying to yourselves. I'm not talking about, like, it's good for this, but not for that. No, I'm talking like it genuinely does not fucking work. Okay. So for the packaging system, we're going to have some templates. And templates is where we're going to have, a skeleton structure for a .app, .red, what app image? What does app image even use? By the way, what's something that I can download that has an app image so I can look at it? Wait, I know what. Yo. Did he delete the release? Again, he literally did this thing and uploaded the video yesterday. And part of that is actually he made a release for the project. It says updated yesterday, but I don't think he left the release up. So unfortunately, I don't get to use that. It sucks. I think he deleted it. No, wait. Oh, sure. We found it. Alright. So, Zozing did this again a couple days ago. And the result of that was an app image, which I am now going to use to do the same thing. I'm still not used to this browser. Stop going into my MacBook. Can you please go to my... No, get out of my Mac. Alright. There we go. Alright, so first question is, what happens if I just double click it? Do I have to install it? I didn't think it would need an installer. Now execute. This will start the program. I'm not sure I'm actually... it started here. Alright. So by the way, Zozen, in case you were wondering, it works. There you have it. Wait, hold on, now I want to test it. Although it always opens on this window. That's just Linux jank. There's nothing you can do about that. Well, there is something you can do about that, but nobody wants to do anything about that. Alright, how about we play this? Works well. Alright, so it works like I expected. You just download it and you click it. So, yes. app image seems like the correct thing that I want to be using here. However, what is it? Is it a folder? The green means executable, right? It wouldn't work on systems without libc. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm gonna have the same exact issue. It's a disk image with squashfs file system, if I recall correctly. Okay, that explains why it wanted to open with disk image writer. I see. So no, I don't want that. I want to mount it. Can I mount it? Can't stab. Damn it. Extract or something like that. Let me see. Extract app image. See, that already makes it worse in my opinion than... Interesting, okay. That already makes it worse than just a .app or .red. It's literally a folder that the operating system knows how to handle. Why does it need custom behavior? Because, again, to package a .app, I literally did it while Zozing was looking at the documentation. Not sure what happened there. The fact that I have to use an external tool for this kind of sucks. Wait, what? Squashfs root? It created a directory? Not here. Oh shit, okay, I didn't see it. Okay, thank you. I completely missed it. Ah, there it is. Alright. Okay, so it has a .desktop file, which is, yeah. This is the executable. He also is vendoring ffmpeg. And app run, and then the PNG, which, cool animation they got going on here. Alright, so I should be able to open this whole thing with sed. Can I drag and drop in KDE, by the way? Yes. I think that worked. Yes! Holy shit! I am actually so happy about the bare fucking minimum in Linux. You can run it from squashfs root. That's not it. Hold on. Alright, let's see if it works. I don't hear anything. Wait, it's just very quiet, isn't it? Oh yeah. Oh, you can render this? Nice. Well, ffmpeg. Interesting. Okay, so you I never installed ffmpeg explicitly, right? So I'm assuming that means technically this is all I needed. See, the thing is, whatever I package, I will not be able to test it properly on this machine because I already have lib glfw, or on this machine because I already have glfw, and I don't have a Windows machine. So whatever. Okay, so we have this. There's a... It's literally... Okay. It is literally a script that calls the executable. And because he's exporting the path, again, I don't know if this is Zozing stuff or this is app image stuff, but because he's exporting the path of the application already has FFmpeg available. That is incredibly convenient. Okay, I don't dislike this at all. All right, then there's the desktop file, which has this thing here. If I'm not mistaken, again, one good reason also for using this specific app image is that he did it with the bare minimum information that you need. It tells you the executable of it, but then it actually runs it from AppRun, so what's the point? It's an application, you put it in a category, and you have an icon. Again, you take it from here. Does it have to be a PNG? Can you do something that isn't a PNG? I don't know. And version 1. Cool. I actually have seen this before. So, nice. For Brazil, you're developing an operating system from scratch. I am, but your question makes me wonder, is that the title of the stream? Because that's not what I'm doing today, technically. But no, okay. That is the title of the stream when I started it, so I wanted to make sure that it got updated. Desktop file support adding multiple languages. Yeah, no, I saw that as well. It's just a basic one. Alright, so it's really, really simple. What is going on with this deer icon? I'm so glad that I have autocomplete in the terminal now, but I keep forgetting to actually hit autocomplete. There it is. Deer icon, which just points to musealizer.png. So again, it makes me wonder, what's the point of the desktop file? Because it won't run without it. But what's the point of it when the icon name is just deer icon pointing to it, and the executable is just AppRun running the executable? You don't really need it. You just have these two hard-coded names. Which, I'm not gonna lie, is actually better than what Apple does, where the name needs to match... well, to be fair, this might just be the default behavior if you don't have an info.list file. Again, I did bare minimum. Alright, so we should be able to create some templates. And I'm just gonna call them by a specific name. And I have to say, this kind of shit, when working with directories, is not the best, so I'm not gonna do it from Z, I'm gonna do it directly from here. App image. Dear icon might be something added by the desktop environment. I see. I don't speak English, but could you post your videos as a voice actor or actress? See, that whole AI thing, I have it disabled. Nope. Portuguese is very similar to Spanish, but I don't speak Portuguese. But no, really, no. It's unfortunate, but AI is too shitty for me to use it even for auto-translating. You know, the idea of somebody speaking that sounds like me but isn't me? We don't really want that. Where am I supposed to be looking? Downloads. It literally has the icon now because... Wait, hold on. Why does the downloads even have that icon now? Oh, I don't think it... No, I don't think it has that icon. It just has the icon of what's inside of it. So same here, same here. It's a picture of Jester shitting right there. There's the Google Slides, by the way. The Google Slides. I don't know why I put that in stream resources. But it's in there. Alright. So I need to replicate this directory structure. There's actually no directory structure. It's literally just this. It's files, no directories. All right, so we are going to need a app run, which this is actually incredibly convenient. And then I'm planning on using some string substitutions. Maybe this. Since this is just a template. Hold on, I got you. Although this is actually also an LLM, but this is what LLMs should be used for. Eu não falo português, mas prefiro aprender do que usar uma voz de IA. That is my answer to that. Okay. This is also how I learned English, not gonna lie. I understand it's a struggle, but at the same time, nah. Alright, these are the executables. I will need a desktop file. So that is gonna be called... Nah. Can I do this? Can I do this? Is that a valid file name? That is a valid file name. And then an image.png, which is not much of a point for me putting that there. And then this thing, where we have app name. The executable is executable. Type application, category, and icon. So I should be able to do icon.png, so that's literally an empty image. So what's the point of me doing that? I think I kind of misunderstood what the problem with that was for a second there. All right. This is literally all you need. Everything else needs to be handled by the script itself that creates it, but that's literally all you need. I'm still not sure about the deer icon. Who created that? But it is a symlink. So even then, it's not really my responsibility to do it here in the template. It just has to be done by the application, by the building script, actually. All right. Mac app. This one is contents. Again, I don't understand why contents needs to go there. Then you have a Mac OS. Your executable goes in here. Then you have a libraries. Then you have a resources. And for that matter, the working directory here, is it going to be inside the app image? I think, is that a thing? No, PWD should work. Right. Can I see it when I run the thing? Right, so right now I just ran this. Can I open the app by just doing this? Yes. There's Raylib doing its thing. And it... Oh, it opened over here. Kind of interesting. My log is not there. Why would my log be there when I'm doing it in the template folder? What the fuck is wrong with me? So not only did I not modify the app run that I was actually trying to modify, which is the one inside the actual app image, but that also wouldn't have worked because I'm not modifying the actual app image, I'm modifying the extracted version of it. What is wrong with... Genuinely, what is wrong with me? Christ. Debian is mostly okay now. I did have a lot of X11 Wayland stuff. But I'm on Wayland now. I found out how to do X11 compatibility. And I disabled... I am forcing my applications to use X11 by default, and now it works fine. Linux. Anyway. By any chance, are you printing the current directory? No. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. I just need to know if the current directory is this one or not, because then I will need to include a resources folder somewhere. Well, actually, I need to copy that. Okay. There's that. Libraries, macOS resources, and we need an info.plist file, which I can, in fact, just copy off of the other info.plist file, which I have. Oh, it's info capitalized. All right, this is XML. And we don't really need this. And I will need some properties in here. Same as in the desktop, kind of. But yeah, I created an empty one. And I cannot be bothered finding them right now. So we're going to leave it like that. We're actually going to leave it to do. Is it like this? It's like this, right? No. How do you do this again? Ah, fuck's sake. They were doing it before. I was missing a dash. Okay. To do info.plist. Alright. And I still don't know if I need the package info or not. I guess there is one way to find out real quick. I'm going to go into the package, contents. I'm going to delete it. It shows as an executable, so that's a little bit scary. Open it, and the application loads just fine. So I don't really need a package.info. And again, there is code assigning. That's a different story. If I ever want to do like Steam, I will need it. If I ever want anyone to actually be able to install this without needing to give permission 3 times, I will need it. But right now, it's not part of what I need to do. All right. And then there is the Windows version, in which I'm pretty sure, do you really need anything special for that? Let me look at a Steam game. You do have to pay for code signing, yeah? It's like $99 a year. I used to have it. I don't really have any applications right now, so I don't have it anymore, but yeah. Steam is inside of .local. Those are guaranteed to be Windows applications. Share, I believe. Steam. Then Steam apps. Common. Elden Ring. Game. Wait. What structure is this? Wait, what's the Windows pricing for code signing? I'm terrified. You don't need it on Windows, but I'm terrified. This is a weird structure. Why does this have an Unreal Engine logo in it? But this is a really weird structure because this is not packaged with bottles. Is this native Linux? No, right? It's not native Linux because it's using exe and DLL. There's no way this is native. But it's also not the structure that I was expecting to see. Like, the problem is I don't have any games installed. A DLL is not just an exe. A DLL is a dynamic library. The Proton stuff is in the compact folder. I see. Okay, so they put the executable there, and then they give you your own sandboxed file system in there. Got it. Okay, so actually what I need is this. I was just surprised by that. I thought maybe Elden Ring has like a hybrid Windows Linux build or something. No, that makes more sense. All right, really all I need for my application is .exe and DLLs. The number is the game IDs. Yes, I remember that. You have to get it from the store also. For example, like where does the icon for Elden Ring come from? Also, can I boot from here? I can't do that, can I? Will that work? No. Is an exe just a text file? I mean a zip file? Because it says extract. And the icon is part of it, like you're saying, so... Shit. I actually did not know that. Then why... It's weird what that app has done. What? Seriously? Hold on, let me see. I literally, again, have not reinstalled most games. So I literally can only choose between Asprite and Elden Ring. Which Asprite has an executable and an SO. So this is a Linux native. Different executable sections, and you can extract those sections. Wait. Okay. So essentially, I'm so confused. No, I understand I can't open it. I mostly just did that just to see what would happen, because I knew it wouldn't open. But I'm actually surprised. These are sections. Reloc, text, TLS, data. It thinks it's a zip file when really it's just a... Well, not even a zip file, just a compressed or compacted format. But it's not. And then I'm assuming resources here contains... Just trying to find the app icon. Icon. There we have her. There she is. Beautiful. This one makes a lot more sense. What's 7? Why is this one not considered an icon? Why is it not .ico? Okay. This is such a weird executable bundle hybrid. Because it has all these sections, which are code and data, right? Am I maybe similar to... Wait, can I open this one on an exe viewer? Oh, I don't have an exe viewer anymore. Not an exe, a hex viewer. I don't have that anymore. But, it also embeds icons inside of it and other resources like cursor. though it doesn't know what to use to open it. Group cursor, also. Group icon. It tries. So Zing has a video about this for the .NET binaries. Interesting. That is genuinely insane. Because I just thought that it was an exe, which is a pure executable, and then an icon file separately. Which, by the way, on wait, something opened here. Yeah. So an exe is actually like it's more than just the executable. It also embeds resources inside of it. But it's not like a folder that you then bundle into an executable. Like, you can't just do it with GCC, end up with a .exe, which is what I thought I would have to do. I thought it was gonna be like app.exe, and then I would have something like icon, and then it would know to get the icon from here. Because again, the DLLs, DDL.dll, the DLLs are actually out here. So I kind of figured it would go, you know, like that. Essentially just not bundled. But it is bundled, and also not bundled at the same time. Only Microsoft could come up with something like that, I guess. Alright, so Windows, you're gonna wait. You can load icons separately. Okay, I figured that was a thing. I don't have any other games installed. I don't have anything else from Proton installed, so hold on. It's also possible to do with Elf. As long as it's optional, I'm okay with doing it like that. Thanks for that. Wait, what was that about the Steam machine? Yo. When did they do what, pre-orders? Alright, Linux is gonna become usable. Let me try, what's a small game? Kerbal Space Program, besides being an incredible game, is kind of small, so I'm gonna try that one. Just hope it doesn't affect the stream. If it does, I'm just gonna try this some other time. Oh, the Steam machine is 1,000 for the 512 gig version, which holds like 2 games. Cool. Alright, it's actually almost downloaded. Cool. Alright, let's try another game. This is a Unity game. Did not consider that. So they have unityplayer.so. Which one of these is the executable? There's an exe, I'm not seeing it. txt, cfg, debug, txt. Is it the x86? I mean, this is the launcher, so it's gotta be, yeah. Alright, so this is the executable. And then, is the icon again gonna be bundled inside of this thing? Wait, this is actually launching now. What is happening? Wait, I didn't notice. Oh my god, it's a .so. So that means it's a Linux build. Yeah, Unfortunate Kerbal Space Program, but you're not what I need. My bad. I can download the Win. Well, I already uninstalled it. I need to look at a Windows Executive. Wait, hold on. Right click on the game. Okay. Wait, you can do that? Holy shit! I've actually stopped playing 2 games because they had Linux versions that were so shitty. Oh my god. Properties. Compatibility. Steam Linux runtime. Proton experimental, I'm assuming. Or probably Proton. That's gonna happen a lot, by the way. Now I have to reinstall it. It doesn't really matter which version of Proton I use. By the way, why didn't this just get uninstalled? Oh, this is data for the game, right? That makes sense. There's Proton coming in. There it's downloading. Pre-caching update. Had to do it with human fall flat because they left the build. From like 2018 in their Linux. I should have done that with uplink. I didn't know. Though I've played on my Mac. And also I was playing a game called We Happy Few, which is like the average experience of England. And it was genuinely such a pain in the ass to play. To be fair, I gave up on it because it's not that fun. But yeah. It's it is what England is like, isn't it? Let me just put it this way. We Happy Few is an interesting game. But when I knew what the story was about, I was like, yeah, it makes sense that it takes place in England. I think this kind of stuff could only happen in England. Alright, they all downloaded at the same time. Alright, and there we have the exe. Cool. Good thing I did this, because now I found out. Yeah, open world survivor is such a weird thing. At some point I was in the open world and I was like, I don't need to do this to myself. I haven't picked it up since. That was a few weeks ago. Still not seeing an icon. Is it in here? I was actually so surprised when it loaded. Yeah, the icon is in here. Does everyone bundle their icons? Yeah, the premise is good, but then... No, there is one survival mechanic which I liked. The one with the baby. I thought was a good... It's not that I liked it. It's annoying. But, like, it's good from a narrative standpoint. It's like, oh shit, you're randomly playing as a mother and now you have to take care of your baby too. Like, I thought that was interesting. But... Alright, let me try Age of Mythology. Something really old. The original version. I'm genuinely running out of games here that aren't bundling their shit. And games are just the easiest way that I can get a Windows application on here. Yeah, no, the game itself seems good. The combat is also so shit. Oh my god, the combat is so shit. I actually played it after not Kerbal Space Pro. I was gonna say Curdum Come Deliverance. Which is like when Jebediah Kerman accidentally landed in 1403 Bohemia. I meant Kingdom Come Deliverance. And the first one has shit combat, and the second one has slightly less shitty combat. It has shitty combat, but smooth. It's really rare that a desktop exe is not bundled with an icon. Really? Damn, that sucks. This download is also being way slower than the previous one. It's like half the speed. Never mind, it picked up. ICO files are so 1990. Shit, I just feel like it's easier from my standpoint to compile the executable and then give you an icon file. Also, who cares? Like I've said that any computing decision made after the 1990s is stupid. But hey, I downloaded the game from like 2004 or something, so maybe this one will do it like I wanted to do it. It's almost done. It's installing files. Clearly, because this folder is empty. The estimation went from 1 second. Now it's going up. Why is it going up? Is it because I have the folder open? No, it's not done. The estimated time on the download keeps going up. Now it's going down. Is it genuinely because I had the window open? The folder open? There's no way that's why. There's no way I couldn't install files because I had the folder that they were supposed to go in open somewhere else. No, because it's still stuck at 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, that was just a coincidence, I think. It is installing now. Alright. This is what I want. Please? No. No, actually. They have a million different images in here, but not the icons to the game. They literally have like a splash screen in BMP format, mind you. This is made by Microsoft Studios too. It's a Microsoft game? I've enjoyed a Microsoft game. They own half of gaming nowadays. To be fair, this is like a newer version of the game, even though it's not the retold version of the game. But yeah, it looks like... My god. Okay. It's not like I'm going anywhere with what I'm doing right now. But yeah, I kind of wanted to do the icon files separately. Because I don't want to... I want to have the executable and the icons separate. Although... You know, the game actually still has not technically finished installing? Extract the icon files and then... Okay, can I literally do that? This is the Elden Ring one. I better not mess up Elden Ring here. Where did certificate come from? It's this. Did you notice the readme was an RTF? Seriously? Interesting. So they literally have a million things here, but they don't have an icon file. At this point, I'm struggling to find a game that does. And also, this game has not finished installing. What are you doing? There we go. There we go. Now you have. Were you installing the icon file? Is that what happened? No. That's not what happened. Yeah, I saw the granny.dll here. Rock all DL. Actually, I remember when I was a kid looking into the files of this thing, and there's like sped up singing for some reason. Is it still there? I don't think I can play it, but well, it's game sounds. They're usually not copyrighted, but probably better off not doing it. Anyway. By the way, I have a headcanon theory about the Odyssey movie that's coming out next month. They said they were filming it on the biggest Viking ship that's still around, like an authentic Viking ship. And tiny issue with that is that the movie is not Viking. But you know what does mix the Greeks with the Vikings? Age of Mythology. Are they secretly making an Age of Mythology movie? Is that what's happening? Anyway, Prostagma, I'm running out of games here. I genuinely don't know what else to open that could possibly have a .ico file. Alright. We'll just have to take the, nobody's word for it. And just assume that I'm gonna be able to do that. Counter-Strike 1, the original. Wait, what about, can I Google this? Games with a .ico file. I don't have Counter-Strike. I'm not sure if you need to open it, if you need to download it. Alright. There is an ad starting. So I might as well download Half-Life. How long is that gonna take? 15 minutes? Hi, Peter. Now don't worry about zipping game executables. That does not seem like a good idea. I do have Half-Life. I was thinking maybe Portal. Like Valve has a great engine. It does have a little bit of jank. I wouldn't be surprised if it has a little bit of ICO files. Alright, let's give Portal a shot as well. Portal 1. Last played 2015. That's not correct. I played in this house like 2 years ago. I remember playing Portal 1 and 2. There's no way the last time I played Portal was 2015. Wait. Alright. That was starting to affect my bandwidth, so... better not to do this right now. Well, I can limit the download speed, to be fair. The Counter-Strike download is called Half-Life. Nice. Why is it kilobytes per second? How about I limit you to 1,000 kilobytes per second? That should be enough, right? That is not 1,000 kilobytes per second. That is 100 megabytes per second. It was supposed to be 1, not 100. Okay, I think it's just that Steam, like, thinks about your download speed. Like, it does an average of it, and so it's slowly dropping, but it's limited to 1,000. Which is 1 megabyte. It's actually slightly less than 1 megabyte. You know what? There's an ad. If the stream drops a little bit, like, tough shit. Alright, that's starting to speed up. We have 1 minute of ad. And 2 days remaining. 2 days remaining. Wait, I just realized how slow 1 megabit per second is. It says 2 days for... Oh, shit. It says 2 days, 1 hour and 17 minutes remaining until I'm done downloading Portal. That was when I set my connection speed to 1 megabit per second. My old Wi-Fi. That was like that's the Wi-Fi that I had in Venezuela, like all the way back like 10 years ago. You're turning 24 in 2 days? Nice. Happy early birthday then. Alright, I actually didn't check which ended first. But there you have it. Half-Life is downloaded. That was fast. Alright, and I gotta make sure to unlimit my speed, otherwise that's gonna be a problem. Alright, so local share Steam. Thank God for autocomplete. Alright, stream is back to its normal speed. Now, Steam apps, common, and let's try Half-Life. SO. SO. Son of a bitch. That's what SO means. SH. Fuck, I downloaded this. No, I downloaded the Linux versions. You know, it's actually not desirable to download Linux native builds of most games. ICO only on Linux? No, why would it be? Linux has a native Linux build, which is crazy. I'm also learning how many games truly have Linux native builds. Alright, update queued for Half-Life, which downloaded in like a second. It's 18 megabytes? There's no way the entire executable of Half-Life is 18 megabytes. It was 18 megabytes. I'm not seeing an icon file here. Ah, fuck. Wait. We have it. We have icon files. Alright. Interesting. Alright, that took a while. If only I had known that all I needed was to download 18 megabytes of a game that I've only played like an hour of, by the way. WAD. Is this the same WAD format that Doom uses? I have not played Half-Life fully. No. Same format, that's interesting. Did not expect that. Anyway, now there is a question that I have. It still contains its own icons. Right, so what the fuck is this? Why do you have icon files? macOS icons. Windows icons. TGA image. So this is a Windows icon. Then there's ICNS file, which is the one that Apple uses. I did think, is that the same extension that Apple uses? It's literally the extension that Apple uses. It's a modified version of the Quake 2 engine. Interesting. It's not Source? Don't tell me that Source is a modified version of the Quake 2 engine. No. Hold on. Half-Life Source. That's different from Half-Life. Source is the Half-Life 2 engine. Okay. Interesting. I did not know that. All right. I still need to do a little bit more exploration because it turns out that even there they were bundling their icons, but engine incest is an interesting way of putting it, but you're not wrong. All right, so Windows is gonna be TBD. I kinda do want my template system to be a little bit more like rely less on code that knows what the structure should be and just be more of a proper template system, right? So we have app image, which is going to be the app image dot structure. Who cares? Sure, whatever. Where essentially I just want to define the structure of the program. Including the things that I'm not actively putting in here, like icon.png, app run, executable, and then libraries. Or actually, I have literally one library that I'm planning on having in here. I might even actually end up statically linking to it. Yeah, the point is, that's what I want to do. I never find anything in this thing. I'm still so not used to it. To be fair, ffmpeg here is just a different executable. It's not actually a library, so it doesn't really count in this case. App run, the executable, oh, and the .desktop file, app run, and the PNG. That's literally the structure. I probably, now that I have Half-Life installed, might even consider playing it, yes. I do need something else. Elden Ring is fine, but I'm taking a bit. It's a really long game. It's like 100 hours for a new character. Then I did like New Game Plus, and I would finish New Game Plus in like one day. Sometimes just like a couple hours. Alright, so a Mac app is going to be Mac app. No, actually, even here, the name should be name.app image. Was all a psyop to make you more likely to play Half-Life? God damn it, Gabe. Made me sign up for the Gabe Cube and then made me play Half-Life. I swear to God, that man. Insidious shit he is doing. Name.app contains a folder called, not constants, content. Contains a folder called Mac OS, which contains an, wait, I'm actually doing it like this. Which contains the executable. Contains an info.plist file. Contains a resources folder, which contains a resources folder, which, by the way, I forgot about that one. Resources folder. It's actually like a templated thing. I don't know if I want to use that format, but for now I guess it'll do. Alright, if I'm not mistaken, I actually haven't tested this. But there should be a libraries folder, and inside the libraries folder is where I would put glfw.dylib, which is the dynamic library format, Or there is also frameworks where you would put the .framework version of it, but I don't think we have that, so it's fine. It will require a little bit of testing. Libraries, macOS resources, and the info.plist file is all you need. Then there is also code sign and all that stuff. We're not going to include that. Actually, no. I don't know. I kind of, again, want to make these files so that the entire packaging process is as simple as possible, or as customizable as possible, by relying on these files instead of hard coding behavior. Right, so essentially, I want to make a Mac app. I create this structure. And then I can actually copy it from here. That's fine. But then, what name do I give it? I take it from here. And this stays the same, this stays the same. The name of the executable. The executable gets put here. But there is technically a constraint or a rule that the name of it has to always be the same as the name. So I need to have a way to specify that without just doing this, you know? Although they are gonna match, so it's not gonna be a problem. Oh, I'm not sure. Anyway, info.plist resources will contain this, which is supposed to be substituted by the resources folder. I'm not sure if I'm doing this right, but whatever. I have a windows.structure, and that one is going to be name contains executable contains. Does it have a specific name? Here they're calling it game.icons. But again, this is not the one that Half-Life is using. This is the one that, well, they are using it, but like, it's not the one that this is using. It's not the one that this is using. So I'm not entirely sure. And then glfw.dll. Alright, if I want to make a templating system around this thing, I do have to consider proper extension to glfw. And again, very much planning on making the system only bundle glfw and no other libraries. Unless I really need them. Right. Alright, so that's my templates. Then there's also going to have to be the compilers section, where we're going to have a Apple Arch 64, Linux x86, Windows x86. But I'm not going to fill them in, and of course, I haven't done a template for my own app. God damn it, I forgot. Redacted Arch 64. I did not do that. Which is literally just a package .info. Is it .info? I actually forgot. Yeah, it's .info. All right. A package.info which can contain a... Gotta look at a template real quick. Easier if I look at it here. App name, like that. App version, version, and app author. All right, and likewise, you can also have the version, and you don't have an author, interestingly enough. Oh well. This does, but info.plist is a little bit more complex. I don't want to look at one right now. Okay, so those are my templates, those are my compilers, and then we of course have the packager.lisp, which is going to be the system that takes the definition of a packageable program, picks what you're looking to package, and creates it for you. And also we're going to create a staging area for it to work in. Hello, Aniket, welcome. Okay. Such is the plan. I feel like I've had my hair up in a very weird way the whole day, but whatever. Oh, you know what? Maybe I can start by building a redacted version of this. Which, by the way, I didn't build a redacted dot structure. We have a name dot red with a resources no dynamic libraries. The info.plist becomes a, okay, I forgot, executable.elf. I'm gonna remove that .elf thing, but whatever. For now it's fine. No other things, and a package.info. That's literally all you need. Common Lisp is what I'm using. All right. So, you're going to need to include, which is a load. Make sure I did it in the right folder. Yes. Okay, so outside of this folder, v3 redbuild.lisp. Red build has a red mod class, this thing here, which of course I do plan on faking a little bit. I don't feel like doing the entire process, and most importantly, I don't feel like doing like go from one to the other. So what is an application that I have that is packaged only for my OS? It's probably going to be one in here. Doom has not been touched in a while, so it's going to be ghost.red, right? This is actually the result that we want. And I also kind of want to have an input. Why is there stuff in the stage? Oh no, there isn't stuff in the staging area. Okay, that's weird. Yeah, so I'm just gonna steal this, and I'm gonna steal this. I'm gonna steal these three actually. I'm going to put them in here. This is the input that I get from the system. But this one's going to be a little bit different. Name, executable. Yeah, the plan is to build a script that just generates project structure. Not project structure, just packaged projects. And it really seems like the only complicated part here is going to be the app image that needs an actual building step. That and the compiler being cross-platform, which I'm actually skipping by already including a compiled version of the program. Executable. Also, yeah, I was wrong about the template redacted. This isn't the name of the program, it's the name of the executable. Why isn't that capitalized? Can I... Ah, whatever. Version and author I also need. Which uses 0.1A1. And the author is going to be me. Surprised that it didn't have one. Whatever. Alright, so you give me this information, an executable, and a resources folder. You don't actually need to tell me what your project is structured like at all. You just need to give me this information. Alright, again, I would love to be able to use these things for a better structure, like for a more dynamic version of the structure, but I'm not sure how to do that. I'm gonna try. Especially this one's gonna be really, really easy to do. Alright, so we're gonna try to do generate build, which, by the way, okay, no. Well, no, I don't really want to make this a package. The whole point of this is that it's not a package. It's just a script that does things. That's literally it. Maybe the parser part is going to be a package, but not this. Alright, so to generate a build, we're going to def type also, which I think is how you do an enum. Yeah, like this. Where are we? Here. Output type is actually almost perfect, but it's a symbol that I'm already using here, even though this thing actually is not part of what I want. Target system. Wait, hold on. I have this already defined. I do have it already defined, so why am I not using that? It's an environment type. This thing. Which I'm hoping my package is exporting. Environment, yes. Okay. So I can use this. I just learned how to use this kind of thing. Environment, packages, it's called. I just learned how to use packages in Lisp. Alright, so we're going to want to generate with an environment, and that's literally it. The whole point is supposed to be kind of drag and drop. No configuration, because the configuration file is this file. Maybe eventually I'll make it a little bit more modular. For now, I'm fine with this. Alright, so what are the steps to do this? First off, we're going to need to clear the staging area. Then we're going to need to check, although we can skip this part, we can skip these two parts, I can do them manually. check for presence of a resources folder, optional. Package.info. Well, no, this is not going to be called a package.info. It's going to be called a config. Just config without the info part. And executable. Then we are going to copy the structure of the template ideally by copying one of these directly, and then by learning how to fill it from this. Though I don't know if that's gonna be enough. All right, we're gonna try. We're gonna see. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to copy, which I need a library called the UIOP for, and that's kind of the library that I didn't super love working with. So I started making a wrapper around it, and I don't have the wrapper. What the hell? Dot dot dot. There we go. I'm gonna try to see if I already set it up here or not. Redlisp.get. Nope, doesn't exist. Wait. Name or service not known. All right. Just a second. Ah, I see. They never gave it that name. Yep. The repository already exists, so I'm going to be using my my GitHub alternative with 100% uptime. Fuck you want my password for? Ah, damn it. I need to do a little bit of configuration for it though. Now it's gone. Damn it. Okay, so I don't have this repository. Well, that's unfortunate. It is on GitHub though, so. No? Have I actually not pushed this repository at all? Is it even a repository or is it just a folder on my machine? It's literally a folder on my machine. Well, in that case, I'm just gonna push it to my interesting remote here. Alright, it's gonna be taking a bit. So, alright, I'll be back in a couple minutes since I actually haven't taken a break. And I'll have the repository set up and I'll be able to actually write code. Alright. Let me see if I'm able to clone a repository now that I actually wasn't a repository until like 2 minutes ago. There we go. Finally, I was able to do that. Okay. Never used any other Lisps? Honestly, no. Been writing Lisp for like 2 weeks, so not really. How different are they? Like, what I like about it is that the syntax is so simple. Do you really need anything super complex for it? Wait, I just went through the hassle of setting up an entire repository so I could access it here. There's a tiny issue with that. The dependency that I need, I already had. But whatever, now I had a red Lisp. And it has this library in it. But also it has this utils thing here. Red Lisp utils.lisp. Alright, and utils is that file that had counting lines, which is not a thing that, for example, is very easy to do. You have to do all this. Printing line, okay, that's fine, it's a macro. And last path component, definitely not an easy thing to do. For some fucking reason. You need to do first and last of the path name directory path. Incomprehensible to me. But it doesn't really matter. Alright, so essentially I want to copy the structure of the template. So that's the thing that I want to do here. And to do that, I need the UIOP documentation, which is kind of very shitty. There's copy file. Is there a copy directory? Because it does make a hard distinction between a directory and a file, and somehow there isn't. Using a personal language as in you have your own dialect of Lisp, or what do you mean? Copy stream. Okay, this is why I've been frustrated with this library. You have a copy file, but you don't have a copy directory. UIOP, copy directory. Of course, this tells you to use copy directory, which is not a thing. Oh no, it tells you to use a library for it, okay. This is the IO library for Common Lisp. It doesn't help you do IO. And then Google is useless, so when I say copy a directory, it tells me copy a file. Okay, that's funny. It uses the CP directory internally. I mean the CP utility internally. So I can either use a tool or do that myself. Implemented a C with a gradual type system. I'm eventually gonna do that at some point or another, not gonna lie. I already have something way better than RedLisp, which is redlib in C. And it has all the utilities that I could possibly ever need. Whereas here, I'm stuck doing copy like this. Which, by the way, what is the syntax of this damn thing? You have to pass it the command, and I believe that's supposed to be a list. Copy. I'm gonna hard code which file I'm gonna copy, as otherwise we're gonna be here forever. We're gonna copy from the current directory, which is packaging. You're gonna go into templates, and you're gonna copy. Hold on. You're also gonna do this with R. Templates redacted into from the current directory staging. And then here's where the name kind of becomes interesting. I should be able to concatenate. Which right now I'm also going to hardcode this part, because if I have to start dealing with like reading the file as well as working with directories in this language, I'm going to go crazy. So I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to hardcode the name of it. It's ghost.elf. I could actually create a bundle name. And just call it that. Yeah, but for now it's going to be hard-coded to be ghost. Alright. Can you do that? Generate build, and literally don't care what the environment is, so let's give that a try. Red build, we're going to go into packaging. Hello, Sanjay. We're going to go into packaging, and we're going to do sabbatical script packager.lisp. And of course, there's going to be an error, because I am unable to write a language that I'm kind of new in without doing a couple of errors at first. End of file. Yeah. Concatenate is not of type okay, go fuck yourself. What do you mean concatenate is not of type character? Concatenate is concatenating two strings. Is it not? It's concatenating two strings. So why do you want it to concatenate two characters? I'm confused, but we're just gonna move on, because otherwise the stream is gonna be just 3 seconds of coding. Alright, and there we have it. There we have it. I do not use IRC, no. It's amazing that this is how you copy. It's amazing that this is how you copy. But you know what's also amazing? Is that I can just go in here and do this. Defun copy directory source destination source destination. Ridiculous that this is what it takes. But whatever. So generate build is now going to be copy directory from template redacted into staging ghost. Test it one more time. Because it wouldn't have been a script in Lisp written by me if it didn't have a syntax error after copying and pasting shit. Not from Stack Overflow or AI, just straight up copying and pasting shit inside the same files. End of file. Oh my god. Yeah, I straight up forgot to close this. I don't think copy file works for directories, does it? Like, the solution seemed to be that I have to use a... Why do you want it to be a sequence? The thing is that this library does a very big distinction between files and folders. And it only provides functionality for files, not folders. Barely has anything for folders, barely has anything for files. It's a great utility, really. I love it. But no, copy contents of the input file to the output file makes it sound like it's just going to be files. So don't think that's the case. But now you're telling me that the source and destination are not of type sequence. Why do they need to be sequences when it's always been fine if I did them as strings? But I did create this. See, the funny thing is I've already dealt with this shit so much. I'm gonna copy this because this file does not rely on red Lisp. This does. So alright, that should actually help it. If I do flatten on this thing, no. Because the SRC is not of type sequence, but it's a string. It's a string! What is the problem? It's a string! Why would it be a sequence? It's a string! Sometimes this library actually drives me crazy because it feels designed to be as annoying as possible. Now SRC is not of type character. What do you want from me? Wait, is it... I am actually losing it at this fucking library. I have no idea what it wants from me. These are strings. I am passing them to you as strings. Why does that not work But if I do this, illegal function call. What? I'm actually so confused as to what's happening now. Oh wait, I removed this thing. Now the destination is not a sequence, but again, if I just copy and paste this thing, which is the parameter that I'm passing you, directly into the function, all of a sudden, it is no longer a problem. Is it ignore error state? Ignore error what? Status. This is actually so confusing. This makes zero sense. I actually got the name wrong. Look at that. So I don't think it's even the language. I think this library, everything that had to do with this library has pissed me the fuck off. It is actually so annoying to use. First off, they have a copy file, but they don't have a copy directory or folder or anything like that. Second, I'm sure the copy file barely even works. I'm doing it through this program, using run program, which is a ridiculous way of copying files in a programming language that is using an IO library. Like, it's not that I'm not using one. I am using literally a library called UIOP. And yet, it cannot do IO on basic shit like this. Anyway, then again, I kind of understand that because Lisp is just older than files and folders. But again, if I paste the argument directly in, it works. If I instead call the argument, all of a sudden it wants it to be a sequence. What the fuck do you mean? SRC is not of type sequence. Why are you expecting it to be a sequence? It is a string, which is exactly what works until it doesn't. Alright, so have I done this shit before? That's actually such an annoying... So this one's doing it. It takes a list, and then it flattens it, sure, but it does this. Who calls lib command with a list of libraries? Alright, what about, why did that go to a different file? Genuinely ridiculous behavior happening here. Libassemble uses output, where the output is literally a string. Okay, so this one's doing the same thing. Libassemble calls libassemble list, passing output to it. It just puts output in a list, and then it works. It runs the run IO program, UIOP run program over that. But the output in question is also a string. So is this not considered? Well, now it's nil, so obviously now it's not a string anymore. Like, is this not a string? Because it will complain that source is not of type sequence, but you don't want it to be a type sequence, you want it to be a string. I am actually lost as to what's happening here. I don't actually know, like, how do you even Google this? Common Lisp string is not a string. This is actually the closest I've come to actually getting an answer from Google in a really long time, by the way. Common Lisp UIOP run program is not a sequence. Why do you want it to be a sequence? That's actually so annoying. src from libcommand also comes from here, which is literally iterating over strings. So everywhere else I'm able to do this, but here for some fucking reason I cannot pass a string to a function that expects a string. And I'm genuinely lost as to what to do in this case. Again, do you want me to flatten it? I'll flatten it. But that's still not the... Well, that's not what you want. I'm genuinely pissed off. Yeah. So, that's this fuck-ass library. It's been the most frustrating thing I've worked with in a long time. And yet, I don't understand if this is that being stupid or Lisp being stupid or who's being stupid here. But again, if I give you a string here and I put it here, why is it not working? Is it the name? It's not the name. Your mom is not a sequence. I don't know what she is, but she's not a sequence. Is there another UI library? No, UI library. Is there another Common Lisp library for files that actually fucking works? Getting frustrated with the Common Lisp ecosystem. Yeah. Yes, I am. Alright, can I skip the part about that actually fucking works? Common Lisp provides a rich library of functionality for dealing with files. That is a fucking lie. That is an actual lie. It is in fact not easy or fun to work with files. Okay, this is an absolutely ridiculous thing. This is a string. This is a fucking string. I am genuinely this is impossible to debug because this is a string, but then I put it here and it's no longer a string. Or actually, a string is no longer what it wants because it tells me that it's not a sequence. Why should it be a sequence when it was a string? This is a string. It is a string. I am actively losing sanity points with this bullshit. Racket, Guile, Scheme, Closure, all destroy common Lisp ecosystem. Now, might be worth considering. This is actually the language for which I'm using a syntax highlighter, by the way. Okay. It's interesting that defun is actually not part of the language, but I'm using the Racket LSP and it detects it. That's interesting. I do have to say this looks a lot better. Alright, I'm gonna take a break for the ad and I'll be back in 3 minutes. Alright, I'm back, and I ended up installing Racket. I am actually pissed off at Lisp right now. For the simple reason that this is a string, but somehow, when you pass it as an argument to this fuck-ass function, and you pass it in here, instead of that, like that, it suddenly stops wanting a string. It remains a string, but it doesn't like that it's a string anymore. Whatever the fuck is going on, I genuinely don't even understand it. I don't know how to begin to debug this shit, so I decided to try Racket instead. Though I am already pissed off, Racket is not helping, because they keep talking about all the amazing shit that they have, but not how to use it. Quick introduction. Alright, I know how the language works. Alright, there's something called Dr. Racket apparently. No, there isn't. There is not something called Dr. Okay, for the love of God. Okay, so we want something called Racket. We go to the website of something called Racket. We go and get something called Racket. We download an installer script which we have to run with sudo. Very normal thing to do on Linux. And then they tell us, well, we assume that you're going to be running it with Dr. Racket. Dr. Racket here takes you to the same download for the normal Racket, but it doesn't tell you how to actually use it. Install and then start Dr. Racket. Okay, listen. How? How do I do that? Do you realize that you did not tell me that? And do you realize that it's not as straightforward as just calling the damn thing? Because after installing this, to be fair, maybe I'm on a... No, it doesn't exist. Okay. Here's the thing, we're not doing this. I'm absolutely not gonna use any of these languages that do this shit. I'm instead just gonna move the fuck on. So here's the deal. When I copy something, we're just gonna take this. No, we're gonna take this, and we're gonna use it to copy. And we're gonna ignore that all of this even happened. Because this is an absolutely ridiculous thing to be happening right now. Alright, so just to recap. Common Lisp, this library here, for whatever reason, when I pass this as an argument, versus when I hardcode it, is completely different. One of them works, one of them doesn't. Whose fault is that? I have no idea, but it is definitely a problem. This is not supposed to happen in any programming language, where the same thing is different, especially not in a language that doesn't make its syntax completely explicit. To me, they look exactly like the same thing. There's no way for me to know the difference, and I have to say this has actually never happened with Lisp before. But I've only been writing Lisp for like 2 weeks, so I'm genuinely concerned that this is a thing that can happen. I don't even know if the blame here is on the library or the blame here is on the language, but somebody is to blame, because such unintuitive behavior is actually a problem in any programming language. If I have to learn the minutia of exactly the exact syntax of the thing that I'm writing, which is, by the way, an argument in a function, then I think you failed at doing whatever the fuck is causing this. Be it the library, be it the language. So I actually decide, let me try a different flavor of Lisp. Let me try Racket. And it tells me, how about you download Racket and then install it and then start Dr. Racket? What is Dr. Racket? You don't need to know that. No, none of your business. Just start it. So then you click on it to go and see how to install it, and it turns out the installer is the same one, 245 megabytes by the way, that you already downloaded and installed using sudo on your fucking system. And then Dr. Racket is not found. The doctor is not in. There is no doctor. The fact that I'm genuinely struggling with opening the interpreter to this language. Oh, it's in my computer's applications or start menu. Thank you. Very helpful. On Windows, on Unix, double click on the Dr. Racket icon if your distribution creates one, which is the case in many environments. I installed through a shell script. Can also be run directly from the command line if it is in your path. You didn't put it in my path? I installed it through a shell script. You didn't put it in my path. Which is probably the case. It is not. If you choose a unistyle, I did. Otherwise, navigate to the directory where the Racket distribution is installed, and it will be in the bin subdirectory. Do I hallucinate it? Do I look like a fucking LLM to you? We need to stop doing software like this. Mind you, all of this is so I can build a script that helps me package applications. Because packaging applications is such a shit process. Is there anything here slightly related to Racket? There's nothing. Okay. So here's what I'm gonna do. So I don't end the stream immediately. Which I'm gonna do anyway. You know what? I am gonna do that. And I'm gonna find a way to uninstall Racket, because that is a genuinely stupid way. That is an idiotic way of packaging your programming language. It will be in your path. No, it isn't. You ran the shell script with sudo, right? You did the thing that is so common on Linux, right? Yes. And you didn't find it in your path? You didn't put it in my path. Your fuck-ass script didn't put it in my path. What do you want me to do? Genuinely, what do they want me to do in this case? Oh, wait, hold on. I can configure the command line, which is on GitHub. If you chose... Okay, I'm gonna end the stream. I'm gonna find the uninstaller for this thing, and I'm gonna uninstall it. And then I'm going to consider doing what I'm doing in a language that isn't Lisp. Because I like Lisp, but I fucking hate Common Lisp syntax. Well, not syntax. Common Lisp's way of doing packages. Very prone to... You know, the malware thing that I'm blanking on the name of. Racket is giving me instructions such as you probably know what to do. Well, first off, if you choose a Unistyle distribution, you have installed Racket via APT or the Software Center, you shouldn't have anything to do. This is not true. This is actively not true because this doesn't work. The thing that it's supposed to do, the thing that you want me to do, doesn't actually work. Otherwise, for other Linux users, you probably know what to do, but on Ubuntu specifically, you can follow these instructions. These are not instructions specific to downloading to like installing that. They're instructions for how to set up your path. Again, to this day, you have not told me where you installed my shit. You did not set up my path. And then you don't give me instructions for how to do it. You tell me that I probably know what to do. Who designed this fucking language? Alright, so that's Racket. Thanks for the LSP. Fuck you for everything else. I'm going to have to figure out why this changes its behavior when I put it inside of a function. And I'll see if I'm able to do this shit. If not, I'm just gonna do it in C. But I genuinely didn't want to compile this. I feel like this is exactly the kind of thing that you want to do in a scriptable language, not a compiled language. That is one convenient thing about Lisp. And it is. It is a thing that you want to do in a compiled language and not a scripted language. No, the other way around. You want to do it in a scripted language, not a compiled language. But what do you do when the language is literally being idiotic? Or the library does whatever the hell the library is doing right now? I genuinely don't even know how to begin to describe the problem because it is such a ridiculous problem. Anyway, I had fun setting up these things. It would genuinely be faster if I packaged my applications myself by hand, then figured out why a string being a string becomes a problem only if I put this thing inside of a function. Or whatever the fuck is happening. Anyway, I might still stream a BSD thingy because I want to see what this OS is all about. And again, it is literally impossible to go outside these days. So it's not like I have anything better to do. Probably not tomorrow, so probably Wednesday. Probably. But I'll update on my Discord. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next time.